good afternoon, or good evening to you listening to us right now. You're tuned on to An Hour with Nangla, which is a platform that seeks to celebrate heroines, heroes, or say champions that are working towards mitigating or preventing, but also responding to cases of gender-based violence in Africa. Today we have with us Miss Chiamo, who will be introducing herself to us in a while from now. So thank you and over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nangla. I am Chiamo Seraphine Johnson from Cameroon, and I'm a mental health advocate. I'm also a lived experience, mental health and psychosocial support counselor. I am a PhD public health candidate researching on mental health, a biology teacher by profession, a member of many organizations, both national and international, including the People's Health Movement, Women in Global Health, Women Ascension as a mentor, and many more. So I'm so glad to have you on this session or have you listen to us on this topic that I, for one, hold at very high esteem. And I hope we are going to have a great time discussing this issue of gender-based violence so that together we can build a more equitable world where everyone is treated with dignity, irrespective of their gender. Thank you, Ms. Nala, for inviting me to the session. The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Seraphine, for finding time to be with us today. So, first off, the question of gender-based violence has been a long time thing, and I get you joining in this fight, especially from the angle of mental health. And you've been in this area of work for quite some time now. So, what would you say inspired you to join this moving train?
Okay. Thank you very much for that very, very pertinent and opening question. But before I dive into that story, because I'm going to start with a story, I will just first of all like to let our audience know what gender-based violence is. I wish everyone understands that this is a global crisis. It's not only a women's issue, it's not an individual issue, it's not only a girl's issue, not only a family issue, but it's a global crisis. And when we talk about gender-based violence, we are talking about it can be physical violence, sexual violence, emotional, socioeconomic. Is it early child marriage? Is it female genital mutilation? Is it cyber violence? Because the theme for Cameroon this year, commemorating the international fight against gender-based violence, is on unite to end digital violence against all women and girls. So all forms of violence, we just name only a few. And when it is perpetrated against an individual because of their gender, that is what we term GBV, and it's also rooted in gender inequality, the abuse of power, and harmful norms. So it causes serious harm on the woman, the girl, the families, communities, societies, and the globe at large. So now getting to your question, I often unapologetically introduce myself as a lived experience because it took such a long while for me to be able to speak out openly. And I will first of all give a disclaimer that my father, who is of blessed memory, is my hero. He's one of my heroes that I look up to because he was an exemplary philanthropist. And again, I learned from his mistakes. Because as a philanthropist, you will bear with me that you will have a thought of everyone around you because they have their interest. And most often, that interest goes beyond that genuine, it, it leaves out that genuine relationship or friendship between two people. So, although he was a philanthropist and somebody who could We can say he was poor at that time. He was a rich man, and everyone will consider people living in rich homes to be living so well. That it wasn't the address everyone's problem, community problem, everybody, such that back home it was also challenging. So I will quickly go through some of the things my mother went through, and I would just like to highlight that my focus mostly will be on the psychological aspect. And I think, to the best of my knowledge, that is actually what um, my mother, I'll start from her before I get to myself, she went through. So there was no physical violence. So it actually started when her grandmother asked her to drop out of school because, Africa, that the family was small and she had to multiply. She had to go out there and multiply. So she barely struggled to save her registration for the common entrance. And unfortunately, she wrote hiddenly and she did some errors and failed. Even though she passed the first school living certificate brilliantly, but she had to go into marriage because it was that she had failed the exam. So that was the pretext. So you see an issue of school dropout coming in here, early marriage coming in, and already seeing herself with two children, she couldn't sacrifice her motherhood to follow a career in nursing that my father actually wanted her to pursue. So today we have many women going through this because of their children's well-being. They just don't know how to continue with career and whatsoever dreams they had. So in those days, there was no idea of having a nanny, and as a result, she got herself into economic dependency. So you will basically in that state will basically follow everything the man tells you to do. So she had to go into the management of the store, and this store was like a family thing where anybody in need would just be directed, go to the store and take this. You want to go to the hospital, they say go to the store and take whatsoever. A baby's milk, they say go to the store and take. So imagine you in the store managing it. How do you make sure you preserve the capital and also your own demand? So the truth is she wasn't into meeting her own demands because this was a family business. She was just there to manage. And because of the struggle, you have to stay and wait for food to be brought. Probably you're hungry. So she started thinking of a way out. And that is how she met someone. She bought support from somebody, and it was good. So she asked for the recipe, and behold, the person told her the recipe, and that is what she started trying alongside with the the store business. And even all of that was a whole struggle because she had to manage, is it clothing, it's whatsoever. So it was a whole struggle. Imagine in a home where your husband is taking care of everyone, and you are into managing something that it doesn't belong to you. So she herself wasn't aware of what she was going through. And as well, I think the man himself didn't know what the woman was going through. Uh, Is it washing of clothes and drying and wearing and and all of that? So it was a whole struggle. And it came a time where this store was actually handed to a different manager. And imagine that the business is not yours. So one day you just see that a different manager is around and has taken over the business. What have you got to say? It's not yours. So what happened is that she could not explain whatsoever challenge she was going through to her mom or any other person because we women we are told to be so respectful. We are told to protect our homes. We shouldn't talk out there. We are afraid of what might happen, and those are just some of the things that were in her mind, and she could just support despite the emotional challenges she had. She could not take any major move to understand that she needs her own independence. So, in the course of a different manager taking over the business, she had to relocate to the village and going to and fro doing the farm work. Because I used to wonder why, after um, um, the unfortunate loss of my father with investments in town, my mom relocated to the village. So I got to understand that it's a life she had started. So imagine the funeral procedure in Africa where the widows have to undergo certain rituals. And that marks a stop in all your activities, even the farming activities, because it was so long. It's true I was still young, but I can have a picture of seeing them staying in a dark room, telling some stuff, and it's a whole other story. So, and again, the new manager that was managing the business, since it wasn't her thing, so she accumulated bills coupled with post electoral issues at that time. That was still in the 90s. So there was an accumulation of bills. People were renting and not paying electricity bills. So that became something she also could not handle. So you see how easy it was for her to relocate to the village, because in town she wouldn't be able to pay those bills, and she never had any other. She was not empowered with other skills. And at this time, with 8 children, and imagine relocating to the village with 8 children where you have no base to start with, and not to talk of your son not long after that painful demise, falling ill and suffering from mental illness, and today it's more than 20 years. You can imagine. So school fees was a problem, and the list is just so long. Is it feeding or whatsoever? And just imagine because most of them we look at physical disability. Imagine the imagine the functional disability that comes with poverty, because it's actually poverty we're referring to here. Imagine the functional disability with 8 children that comes with this state, because a woman had to drop out of school, get married so early, was dependent on the husband. Unfortunately, the husband died, and he was alone managing 8 children. So it has repercussions on child upbringing. The children themselves, they suffered. And today, I'm 16 years into my own relationship, and I've seen so many things as well. I've learned so many things. And behold, I saw education as the way out in childhood, witnessing all what was happening to my family. Because I bet you, marriage is not a bed of roses like many of us we think and we see on social media out there. We are talking here about digital violence, and some of the main reasons for the increase in this new form of violence that we see in this generation is as a result of what they see on the social media. So I try as much as possible. I know it's a sensitive topic, but to be as real as I can, because it's not a bed of roses that you think you want to get into some paradise as you're seeing other people portraying out there. People have their realities, they have their challenges. So I can imagine the moments where you don't have something and you're depending on your partner, and your partner has his priorities. What do you do? As a woman, you also have other needs, you have other things to do, and it's not everything that you must go explaining. Just imagine women these days, or they want Indian, whether it's Indian or hair or whatever. You want some shoes, you want this, and he has his priorities, and you have to beg every little thing. So you can imagine what that can mean, especially when you're really in need of this, and the other person doesn't see a need for that. So maternity too is another issue. I experienced burnout due to maternity. So that is where I never knew what burnout was. So that is where I got to understand what burnout is. And I think many women out there is their struggle. Work-life balance, managing everything, the career struggle is not an easy one. So when I'm promoting mental health, when I'm advocating for mental health, I do that from a lived experience and from my parents' stories, their mistakes, their the fact that they were not aware, they never had appropriate or adequate knowledge about all these things. They went through it, they suffered it, and the repercussions are being felt till date. Because imagine I succeeded, and today I'm doing my PhD, but others dropped out of school till date. Till date, it's practically very difficult to to leave their dreams or to turn back. Even though we have to understand that it's never too late to turn back the hands of time. We can still make something out of learn from the mistakes, and that's actually what I'm trying to do, and also lending a hand out there for other people who are going through these challenges. So imagine when you're financially independent, the woman, these transactional marriages, the right to inherit property, the issue of speaking up, understanding the barriers are what we we are preaching out there so that everyone should feel emancipated and happy and of you know little or no mental suffering irrespective of their gender. So I would like to first of all have a break here and thanks Marita, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Seraphine, for sharing your experience. That came out so strongly, and it speaks to me as to how much commitment you engage in this work, not just engaging in it because you read in the books, but also because you lived this experience and you're trying to ensure that this doesn't repeat itself with some other person in your environment or your area of influence or even within your network. That's it's saddening to know that this is what parents lived back then. And it's also interesting to see how much progress women have recorded. And again, how much change we've also recorded based on the work and achievements we literally can enumerate currently. I mean, from those days up until today. But we can be referring to the past, but unfortunately, there is a woman still out there living this exact same experience you just shared. And we might be thinking that this just happens just in rural areas, but even in the urban areas where we live these incidents with the thoughts that while you're in the urban area, things are better, there is much more change in all those cases still exist in this urban areas. So we need to keep our hands busy. We need to get our hands on deck to keep pushing in this area. And I like how you highlighted the economic dimension of things because if you're at a dependent angle or the dependent side at all times, women become unable to make their own decisions. They are unable to have that agency to influence decision even within the household itself. Because by the time you say, I think we should do this, I would like to do this, and the question following that would be, how much are you bringing? How much are you contributing so that we can push to this front? And I like that you talked about I like that you talked about this forced and early marriage because I think I have listened to a lot of older women today, and this is a similar experience they share. And when you dig a little further, the response often is, back in the days, it's not like today where your parents can say something and then you bring it up as a discussion point. Back in the days, if your parents should say, this is what you need to do, you're supposed to be marrying XYZ person, you do not have any right to dispute or say to do like you're trying to discuss that. So, I mean, sharing your mom's lived experience and how you grew up seeing things change is somewhat relatable, and I know someone watching out there will be able to see from that angle as well, because these things aren't done with, they still happen. So we need to keep pushing and pushing to see how women can be economically resilient. We need to keep fighting against the forced and early marriages, which get to compromise women's growth potentials, just like you highlighted about your women's case. A few days ago, I was talking to someone about the case of Somalia, where when the law prohibiting early marriages and early and forced marriages was, put up, we saw older men on the streets rioting and requesting for that ban to be uplifted, for the policy to be revoked. So it tells us as to how far we've come, but even how far we are supposed to go. not so long ago, we as well saw people in the Gambia trying to request advocating that the law banning female genital mutilation be revoked. So away from Cameroon and away from your experiences you shared, we are continually seeing a rise in anti-gender movements, and it is again our responsibility to push from the other angle to see that things really get stabilized. Now, um, I was very excited listening to how your story that has inspired you to get into this area of work has panned out. And I want to just find out what are some of the activities that which you've implemented to solve a couple of these problems which you highlighted as your area of inspiration.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So, I'll first of all say that um, experiencing all of these challenges actually shaped and still shaping the way I view the world and all what I do till date. So, in the course of that, this organization, Chiamo Authority, was created, and officially that was in 2021, even though we are officially registered in 2022. And this is an association of people with lived and living experiences targeting mental health and stress management in women and young people. So you will get to, I have been a young person, I'm a woman today. So you will see that even evidence shows that women and young people are the most vulnerable, and the statistics are there. So we didn't say women and girls because we are considering this aspect of positive masculinity, bringing or intentionally grooming young girls and boys who are the who are future um, allies and partners. Because let's say, for example, if today, like we are relating generations, because my mom is of another generation, and I'm of another generation. She was married, I'm also married. So imagine that. Let me just give an example in our African context, where the man knows that his place is never in the kitchen. Imagine I have to tell my husband that, okay, I'm not able, can you? And in Africa, it's like a taboo. Only few men are doing that. I bet you that only few men are doing that. So
Sure.
imagine that if I can't change, for example, my own person of the generation, what I need to do is my young child growing up, I need to groom him such that tomorrow he shouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past. So just to say that that is why we are targeting the mental health and stress management in women who are vulnerable and young people who are also very, very vulnerable as they are still developing, and tomorrow they have to be together, because statistics also shows that, for example, with if we look at the case of Cameroon, because we mentioned several forms of violence at the beginning, we have about for physical violence. It's I just want to highlight the importance of us putting the men and or the boys and the girls together. Let's say when we look at the case of physical violence in Cameroon, a recent statistic that was released by MINPROF, that was in August 2025. It shows that for physical violence, you have about 39% of women, and for the males, you have about 42%. So you see that the males is even a little higher. But one thing that there are different forms of violence. So for this physical violence, we are about 46% for the females is from their partners or their spouses, and for the males, it's mostly from their mothers or from their foster parents or from their siblings. And when we go to look at sexual violence, we see that women are about 13% and men are just about 6. Psychological violence, women are again about 20.4% and women are 18.1%. So this statistics from research that have been carried out. And for economic violence, you had about an indication of about 54% of women reported that they never had the liberty or the right to manage their finances the way they want. So about 54% of them never had that that chance. So you see that when we look at the different forms, and there are many, many other forms, including the digital form that we are talking about. So when you look at the different forms, you see that we actually have to bring the boys and the girls together so that both we don't have to live, or we need a positive masculine perspective, or we need a he or she perspective in order to actually address um, mental health issues. So back to the question, as the key activities or the key areas that we focus on, we focus on, and I would also like to highlight the fact that we are more from a preventive perspective, and that is why you will see that most often in our organization we are talking about targeting mental health and stress management from a public health, human rights, multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder perspective. So these are mostly the preventive perspectives because we believe in stopping violence before it ever starts. So we focus on the risk mitigation in the course of our programming. We focus on community awareness, gender-based case management and psychosocial support, women and girls empowerment, because most often some of these things are because the women are not empowered in different aspects. It could be educational, it could be skill-wise, socioeconomic, and so on. And we do a lot of referrals on now for health and clinical management and advocacy for legal or the justice system. So for the risk mitigation, we are interested in capacity building. You know, there's a lot of advocacy now that there is a gap in the workforce for mental health issues or gender-based issues. So we also have that issue as far as our activities are concerned. So the social worker capacity building is really primordial to us, such that we shouldn't, in the course of trying to carry out our activities, do harm. So we are really intentional about the do no harm uh, principle. So in order to mitigate risk, that is the first thing we are actively doing a lot of capacity building, attending training on this issue. Then for the community awareness, we for the community awareness, we are, excuse me. So for the community awareness, we are talking about breaking the silence on all of these issues about the harmful social and gender norms, the educational aspect, the advocacy aspect, and the community dialogue aspect. So I'll briefly talk about some of the educational issues we are on. And on this educational aspect of stopping violence before it ever starts, we just I just mentioned of the aspect of positive masculinity, educating women about their vulnerabilities and health. There are many women who don't understand their biology, the fact that they are the way they are because by nature the hormones. So what they are exposed to, like managing or balancing work and life, the fact that, for example, adolescent boys and girls mixing together, most often it is the girl that is more vulnerable. So education on the different types of violence, the mind body health, because so many women out there, you'll be going through all these violence that we are talking about, or you are a survivor and you don't understand the repercussions on your own physical health. You see people complaining, but they don't actually know that it's because of the psychological issues that they are going through that is influencing what they are feeling physically. And we also, on this educational aspect, we are on educating women about their purpose. Because if you don't yet know your purpose in life, I bet you will have little or no fulfillment in whatever thing you're doing. And once you discover your purpose, you're going to have that clarity. And of course, your purpose goes beyond you, it goes beyond a family. So you are going to have that clarity in what societal problems to address that you're passionate about. And in the course of addressing that issue, that is where you will probably build some skills and also have return on investment. And that is what we call economic empowerment, or that would lead you to your financial freedom, and you'll be free from all the consequences of poverty and GBV. And we are also advocating when we go to schools about how teachers can openly teach about sexual education to their children, and it's incorporated in Cameroon curriculum at the lower levels. I thought they never teach sexuality, but today it's into the curriculum, and we emphasize and remind on that thing. We have the sexual and reproductive health, the menstrual issue. Many girls they don't understand this, and it's important we educate them on all of that, and we also build the capacity of workforce. So, for advocacy, it's more about advocacy activities. We're advocating for, you know, stronger policies, strengthened laws are needed. For example, on the equal importance of psychological and physical violence that is getting more understood these days, because the psychological part, even the statistics that we just had, I think is underreported. So the more we talk about the equal importance of the psychological and the physical, the more we are going to have more laws that also consider this. For advocacy, we also talk about the funding, the resources, advocating for peace, justice, and strong institutions. Because when we have corruption in our institutions, it doesn't help with mental health issues. And a very weak law, will also not help. But we are glad with the work the Minprof is doing in its national strategy to combat GBV. We appreciate that, and we continue to advocate and lobby for more laws. Like the last time we were at the National Assembly advocating for a specific laws for women. So at the community level, we are leading local conversations to dismantle the harmful stereotypes and social norms. And this is a multi-faceted approach, like through community dialogues and workshops, where we are facilitating discussions through small groups. For example, women janji groups, religious groups, including churches, and communities are engaged. Young women and boys, there's a lot of engagement at the level of our local community where we are operating. For other activities like public events like the 16 days, activism against gender-based violence that we are doing today. It's part of what we do. World Mental Health Day. Those are some of the public events that we use to pass on the message of gender-based violence. Because let's say, for example, World Mental Health Day, when you look at anxiety and depression, women are disproportionately affected. So we use such opportunities. During the guidance and counseling day that passed in Cameroon, we were also there, and we talked about how boys and girls they need to understand some of these stereotypes and work towards being the change makers through media and communication. Sometimes we are on social media, on TV to talk about women issues, and also we have carried out a couple of trainings for educational professionals, the teachers, such that they should be able to identify these risks. And we also know that some of these GBV issues come from the workplace, from the educational space. We know it's about the sexually transmitted mass or
Yeah.
teachers killing on the naive people, and assaulting them.
Mhm.
So we really need training on that. So for other campaigns, we 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 are letting our community understand about all the forms of violence that we just mentioned. Their
Yeah.
root cause and social media, its contribution, the
Mhm.
social media contribution to all of these, how girls they have to be responsible, the body shaming or wanting to be like the stars they are seeing out there, the poverty that is leading people to go beyond their limits, and they are forced to, you know, or when they are empowered, when they are taught many of these things, that is how they will behave responsibly on social media. And one also very important thing is breaking the silence. Our community, we are telling more women to speak up, and we are seeing more people being able to open up. Even on WhatsApp, for women are now able to open up and say certain things that are happening to them, and the he for she approach that we talked about. And we are also intentional about community of engagement and ownership. But when they really see the importance of it, then they will get to value it more and be the ones to push on the activity. Then social norms that are discriminatory, or social stereotypes that are discriminatory, or norms or gender roles. For example, you hear or people say men are not supposed to or cannot take care of children, or the house is a woman's business. That is what those are some norms that perpetrate or that normalize violence. The idea that the man must be dominant, or or that domestic violence is a private matter. When you talk it, I've even got people say you have to mind the way you're talking, because this thing is supposed to be private, and all of that. So when I get someone talking like that, I just know that you are still somewhere. You've not yet seen the light of day, because
I
when
know.
you see the light of day, you'll begin to talk about those things without,
Uh,
feeling ashamed or afraid of anyone. I'm married, and I'm happily married, because,
yes.
by speaking now, at first I never used to speak out. I used to keep everything to myself. The moment I learned how to share my burden with people I trust, that is how, I began liberating myself from some of those things that you even think are so important. When you hear other people's stories, you get to know you're going through nothing.
Yeah.
So very important. The fact that the woman's place in the kitchen, well, enlightening on that. That
Mhm.
is why we're talking about women empowerment, and we can also see that many people are coming up to make for their girl children to go to school, or
Mhm.
supporting their wives. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it, and the services that we're providing as well, because
Mhm.
it's not only at the level of sensitization, we're also providing services and enabling everyone to know, everyone in the community to be
Mhm.
able to check some of these cases. When you see someone going through it, you should be able to be that person's supporter. You should be compassionate and not judge that is because of this and that. And you should also intentionally take the responsibility to disclose any incident. And we are also publicizing the referral mechanisms, or where services can be gotten. We're also raising awareness about relevant laws. I remember there was a case we handled, and in the course of going through the bureaucracy and navigating the normal process of referral, the the perpetrator got to understand that this is what was going on, and they were afraid because of this law. So many men out there, especially in rural areas, they don't even know that there are relevant laws, even though we are still clamoring for implementation of these laws. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, wrapping this point up with the implementation of laws really hit home because I think Cameroon particularly has ratified just a lot of the beautiful laws, right? When you start asking yourself, where are we with the implementation of these laws which we've ratified, it becomes a little bit difficult to identify the milestones. And one thing that really grabbed my attention while you spoke was you know, um, the work your organization does around comprehensive sexuality education in schools, because this is something which is almost like a taboo, even at the level of homes. So if you can't get it from home and you're able to get it from school, this is where the children spend over 8 hours a day. So I think this is a good entry point, and I think Cameroon has pushed against this in the educational sphere for quite a very long time. So seeing that you're pushing from that angle and that the school curriculum has progressively integrated this aspect is something really great. And it's applaudable. I mean, it's interesting the work you do, because a lot of times we're looking at several angles to responding to gender-based violence, including the legal, maybe the medical, and the rest, but we fail to know that the mental health piece of things is very crucial, because if your mental health is not stable enough, you can't be able to, carry on with life's activities. So this is just me applauding you and your team for the good work you do. And again, a call for advocacy to say, if you're out there looking out on how to integrate a mental health angle or a mental health perspective to your GBV prevention and response work, I think Chiamo Mental Health are priorities here, and willing and ready to partner or collaborate with you as you implement your activities. I think a lot of organizations in Cameroon really lack this piece, because there are just a fewer number of persons or who are trained, I mean formally trained, to handle psychosocial and mental health support when it comes to gender-based violence response as a package. Now, I would have wanted to ask what your targeted populations are, but I think you've highlighted quite a handful already: boys, men, girls, religious authorities, traditional authorities, students, and peoples. I don't know if there is more to add to this list.
I think I exhausted that list by women and young people, and it's an inclusive approach, because when we go to the communities and we're including the community leaders, are going to the meeting groups and including the women, small groups, including our youth. So we see that it is an inclusive approach, and we highlight the vulnerabilities of each and everyone, so that most often we are also being attacked by the men, that they also have mental health issues. And I just highlighted the physical violence. You see how the men are disproportionately more affected than the women, but in other cases, you see that the women are more. So that is why we are not leaving anyone out, but we are highlighting these vulnerabilities in women and young people, but not leaving out our men, and advocating for our history out there, and many of them are coming up. And I can be proud to say that my husband is in history. He's supporting a lot, and so we praise more men out there who are into wanting to empower their women. And this quickly reminds me that some people are actually scared of this, because the moment you give some women, that freedom, they abuse it. I know of cases where a woman starts working and she's so disrespectful, she thinks she can just do whatever she wants. You know, those are actually the cases that uh, that really bring us backwards. So men are out there also saying that they also have mental health issues. So we're not
Issues.
leaving anyone out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really like, there are a couple of reasons why I like the process, also the procedure, also the programs you run, because I would say they are community centered. Like, you really get right down to touch base with the
Yes.
community. I like that you engage multiple aspects of intersectionality, especially in terms of age, occupational background, um, geographical location, like going to the rural but also the urban areas, getting to schools to touch base with the adolescents and teenagers, getting to meet also the adults as well, getting to cut across different sectors, like you talked about the medical professionals, you talked about the teachers in schools, and I mean, just generally women's groups, women's that I mean, women's group is, I mean, this is a good strategy of touching base with these women, because you are able to speak their language, they are able to come together, and they are mostly women who are faced with maybe similar but maybe not the same challenges. So this is really it. This is really the way to go. Now, given all of this work you've done, can you just highlight two key, or maximum two key I would say success stories which you've recorded through your work? Because I know you said you're properly documented as an organization from 2022, and we're in 2025 now. And I would imagine that you've been working even before formally registering Chiamo mental health a priority. So again, what are some of those two success stories that really stand out for you ever since you engaged in this?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll quickly go to the immediate impact that we think we can celebrate. I actually got into this space as a lead experience, and at first I wouldn't talk, but now I see more women being able to speak out. There are so many who are out there, they are dying and they cannot say anything. Women, you speak to someone you trust. That is where it starts. If you were abused, were assaulted, and whatsoever, the first thing you need to do is to speak up. I know of people who have spent their lifetime, they have never opened up to anyone. It's a whole lot, and it takes a toll on your mental health. So more people are beginning to speak up, and we celebrate that. And the fact that I've also got to network with many other people. This is in terms of providing the services. Network, networking with other professionals. There is the technical working group for the Northwest and Southwest that I'm a happy member. The GBV referral pathways, networking with all these professionals, it gives us a rapid response um, to the cases that we are having. So when we have cases like today, I prefer two cases. So we can, and this multi-sectoral approach where we can, refer the fact that there's also this entrepreneurial aspect that I mentioned for to fight against poverty because poverty is leading many people into all of that. So there is this career advancement women entrepreneurship champions organization that I'm the president of this of the Littoral branch, and we are working together with women to see how they can be empowered economically, and that is an arm of the work we do. So I think on the 21st we are going to be in Yaoundé for the Women Entrepreneurship Day, and we're going to be talking about how these our female entrepreneurs that we're encouraging, they have to also be aware of the mental aspect because when you're not mentally okay, your productivity will not be as it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And for the individual empowerment, women they have come up and their
Yeah.
their 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 mental wellness is improved. For example, somebody was experiencing post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety comes after the management or the counseling. They really tell you they are feeling okay. They were in darkness. People have gone back to their normal lives. They are feeling in control. You know, those are things that we really celebrate. And for the long term, when we look at this community or cultural shift, whereas as I just mentioned, the more women speaking up, the positive masculinity where we are seeing more men encouraging their women, many men listening to me out there, you will see that those whose spouses or wives or partners are not working, I mean they are already feeling bad because everybody's like, this is something that should be done. You,
Yeah.
you empower you empower your partner. So it's actually happening out there. I'm sure the men watching right now, they are going to bear with me that that is actually what they wish for their partners. At first, the man will say, stay at home, I give you everything. And we'll get to understand the money is not everything. It's very important for your happiness, your mental health. But you will see that you have the words money. We are seeing it on social media because social media has actually come to expose some of those things. If you have the
Yes.
words money, know the end, you're still not okay. So that is
Yeah.
why we mention purpose. So when you're purposefully doing things, you will get the fulfillment. And I'm there with career chats with Nangla. I'm sure when you lie on your bed and see that, oh, this is I'm helping people through this chat. I mean, you feel fulfilled. The
Yeah.
money you even have in your bank account, it doesn't make so much sense because how many clothes can you wear? You only wear one clothes, you only take one
Exactly.
hairstyle, and so on. So it's not all about the money. And the awareness and the education. We are also very happy about the legal system. We saw that with the case of Janiango, because of uh, you know collaborative or joint effort, they had to review the sanctions against the her husband, and those are some of the successes we have to celebrate as a group because in this humanitarian space, I've got to learn that we have to work together, collaborate together. There are moments how health authorities coming with a career chat with Nangla, and together, all
Mm-hmm.
of us, we are building a better world. So those are
Yeah.
the things I get to celebrate when they call me and they say, "Oh, I'm okay," or I've had an issue,
Yeah.
a childbirth, because I'm having many positive results. So
Right.
we celebrate all of that with our committed team working tirelessly towards, improving or reducing GBV against women
Right.
and girls.
Nice. That's a lot of impacts there. Those are a lot of success stories recorded there already. So maybe very briefly, I just wanted to find out what are some challenges you might have encountered doing this work? Maybe we just highlight them progressively because I think someone out there listening to you might think, but you've been in organization just in the last how many years and you've achieved just a lot of this. So, what will you say are some of your challenges you've encountered as an individual and as an organization through this journey?
Yes, one of the biggest challenge and the very first one is the financial the financial aspect. Resources
Yes.
are just so limited, and for is it renting a space, is it for utilities, and it's so challenging, and that is why one
Yeah.
of our advocacy is is to for donors to see into what we are doing.
Yeah.
And while we're advocating for financing, we also see that we have pressing biological needs. People don't have what to eat, because of political conflict, because of difficult economic conditions, health threats.
Mhm.
So you see that it leads to under prioritization of social issues like the fight against CPT. So this is also an opportunity to call out there that when we look at the root causes, when we look at how many women um, are being affected by this global crisis, and we see that the repercussions are not only on these women but on their families, communities, the society, and the globe, then that should enable us to know that we have to fund some of these, and also the fact that there is this the issue of threats. Let's say you're working with a case, and the perpetrators are not happy, so it's also a risk. There is that risk. There's a risk of burnout. People are working where it's not properly funded, so it's challenging, and with a legal system that sometimes it's difficult for people to have hope because there's corruption, and people will obviously maybe pay more and win their cases. So those are some of the very basic challenges we're having, and the fact that we need staff capacity.
Yeah. Those are real time challenges. These are real uh challenges because the CSOs are experiencing a broad funding challenge, especially as of the start of this year. It's very challenging, and as a startup organization, or say as a not maybe a startup organization, but as an organization that's in its early years, it's really normal to face these challenges, and a couple of others that you've highlighted. But again, what I want to say out there is to anyone listening to us, Chiamo Mental Health is very open for partnerships, collaborations, joint funding. Um, so yes, I think you're located physically. Is it in Yaoundé or Douala?
We're located physically in Temtem village, that is in the Bialem division, the southwest region of Cameroon, and we're even preparing um, a school activity, a school-based activity next next week. That's by yes, next week ending, and we are also based in Douala. Yes, these
Great,
two places for now, but
great.
but we have
But
dreams and we have hope.
great. I love
Yes.
that. I love that. So she also highlighted that they do a lot of capacity building, which also means that as an organization, um, if you're looking to build capacity, I think she's also available to collectively or jointly do that with you. So should you need any contacts, please feel free to partner and collaborate with Chiamo Mental Health as you all push through this joint fight. So now we're coming to the end of our discussion for today. But I can't go without asking, do you have any final words for survivors or say the public listening to you right now? Any final words before we wrap up?
Okay, the final takeaway I will have for anyone listening to me is that this is a global fight. It's everyone's fight. And in order to win this fight, we must prioritize, especially funding, because we need funds to do
Mm,
whatsoever we are doing. It is it just traveling for an activity? It takes a lot of it's a lot of sacrifice, especially when you're in your beginning years. So it's a
mm,
global fight, and the women they have to stand up and learn and join and also take the lead, as well as the men. We are inviting you for a leadership approach,
mm,
and our call to action is that um the funding, as I said, it should it should really be stepped up. So we're advocating the different organizations out there, different people out there, because I can even say right now we are being funded by community people who are interested in the fight we are putting out there. So it's their own way of joining the struggle. So you can join from whatsoever angle or perspective.
mm.
And each and every one should take this to heart, and we all are accountable for whatsoever thing is happening in the world today.
Yeah.
So take up the fight, it's your fight, and stand for everyone, irrespective of their gender. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stand up regardless of your sex or gender, because the fight against gender based violence is everyone's responsibility. So, any parting shots as we draw our curtains?
So thank you very much for having me. And together, I believe, I just have no doubt about it that it's a matter of time. We're going to go places, we're going to impact the world more. And I have a dream that this generation that is coming up now has something great to do for the world. And if there is any change that has ever been experienced in any global generation, I believe in Nangla, Marita, I believe in Chiamo, Seraphine, I believe in the all this age group out there that together we can make it. It doesn't matter whether you're from the north, you're from the south, if are you from Ethiopia, are you from Zimbabwe, are you from South Africa, are you from Cameroon, wherever, are you from Argentina? We are interacting globally, and together we are going to win it through. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being patient and listening up to this hour.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, that's a very strong call right there. There is always that need for joint action and this level of collaboration. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your experiences, and your work. We are looking forward to a future where the world is going to be like a safe haven for every other person. And to our listeners out there, thank you so much for following through up until this hour. Marita Nanking has been my name, and our guest has been Chiamo Seraphine, representing her organization, Chiamo Mental Health, Our Priority. We'll be looking forward to seeing you again in our subsequent editions. But for now, let's say bye.
Hello, bye. Thank you.